Welcome back to Casa Verde Diaries, where we dig deep, grow with purpose, and learn from the wisdom that truly stands the test of time. Now, I want to start today with something a little bold, and I know some of you might disagree with me in the comments, and that is perfectly fine. But here it is. I truly believe that most of what we were taught about dealing with garden pests is actually making the problem worse every single season. There, I said it. Because if spraying worked, we would not still be spraying year after year after year, would we? Think about that for a second. Now, stick with me today because by the end of this video, I am going to share with you a ridiculously simple trick that Amish gardeners have been quietly using for generations to protect their young seedlings, and I have never once seen it mentioned in any gardening book. So do not go anywhere. You know that moment. You walk out to your garden on a peaceful morning, coffee in hand, feeling good about life. And then you see it. Your tomato leaves are chewed to pieces. Aphids are marching up your pepper stems like they pay rent. And that squash plant you nursed from a tiny little seed? Gone overnight. And so you do what most of us do. You grab a bottle of something off the shelf, spray everything down, and hope for the best. Maybe it works for a week. But the pests always come back. They always do. I did that same thing for over 20 years of my gardening life. 20 years. And I am not ashamed to admit it, because nobody told me there was a better way. But a few years back, something shifted for me. I had the chance to spend time around the Amish communities in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And what I saw in those gardens stopped me right in my tracks. These families have been growing food for over 300 years. Without a single bottle of synthetic pesticide. Not one. And their plants? Healthier, fuller, and more beautiful than anything I had grown in decades. I stood there in the middle of those tomato rows thinking, what on earth do they know that I have been missing? And today, here at Casa Verde Diaries, I am sharing every single bit of it with you. The first thing that completely changed my thinking was this. The Amish do not fight pests. They build a garden that makes serious pest problems nearly impossible in the first place. And it all starts, not on the leaves, but deep in the soil. Healthy, compost-rich soil produces plants with stronger cell walls and natural built-in defenses. Research from Penn State and Cornell University has actually confirmed this. Plants grown in biologically active soil are measurably more resistant to pests and disease. This is not folklore, friends. This is science. So every single spring, before you plant a single thing, spread 2 to 3 inches of well-aged compost across your beds and work it into the top 4 to 6 inches of soil. Do this every year without fail, and within 2 to 3 seasons, you will see a remarkable difference in how vigorous and resilient your plants become. I have watched it happen in my own garden. Now here is something that might ruffle a few feathers. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. Those neat, tidy single-crop rows that we all love so much, they might actually be hurting your garden more than helping it. Because to a pest, a long row of one crop is just an all-you-can-eat buffet. A neon sign saying, "Come on over." Amish gardeners deliberately mix things up. They tuck aromatic herbs and flowers right in among their vegetables because most pests find their host plants by smell. When you surround your tomatoes with basil, your cabbages with dill, and your garden borders with French marigolds, you create something called olfactory confusion. The pests simply cannot locate your plants through all that competing scent. And as a beautiful bonus, those flowering herbs attract the beneficial insects that hunt and eat the bad ones. Speaking of beneficial insects, this is the step I completely neglected for most of my gardening life, and I think a lot of us do. We are so focused on killing the bad bugs that we forget to invite the good ones in. A single ladybug can eat 50 aphids in one day. One lacewing larva can eat 200 aphids in its short little lifetime. These are your allies, and the Amish build their gardens to keep them around. All you need to do is plant a small strip, even just 2 feet wide, along one edge of your garden with sweet alyssum, yarrow, and dill. Let them flower all season long. Within a few weeks, that strip will be buzzing with the very creatures that will patrol and protect your entire garden for free. And please, leave a small patch somewhere nearby that is a little wild. A few stones, a pile of old logs, a patch of clover. Ground beetles and spiders need somewhere to live. A perfectly manicured garden is a no-vacancy sign for your best allies. If you are enjoying this, and you want more deep dives into timeless, traditional gardening wisdom, click that subscribe button right now. Because there is so much more where this is coming from, and I would hate for you to miss any of it. Now, the fourth habit is one that is beautifully simple, and honestly, it has become one of my favorite parts of the day. Every Amish gardener I have spoken with in Lancaster County talks about the morning walk like it is just as natural as breakfast. Every morning, before the heat sets in, you walk slowly through your garden. You turn over leaves, you check the undersides of your squash, you run your eyes along every stem. And when you spot a pest, you pick it off by hand and drop it into a bucket of soapy water. That is all. 2 hornworms caught on Monday means 0 hornworms by Friday, instead of 20. The Amish do not wait for a crisis. They catch problems when they are still small. I know some of you might be thinking, is that really enough? And honestly, combined with everything else we are covering today, yes, it really is. The fifth strategy is one that makes me smile every time. Instead of keeping pests out entirely, the Amish sometimes invite them in. But they send them to the wrong address. It is called trap cropping. Plant nasturtiums around the edges of your garden. Aphids are wildly attracted to them, far more than your peppers or beans. Once those nasturtiums are loaded with aphids, the ladybugs from your insectary strip will come and feast. You are not fighting nature. You are letting nature handle it on your terms. Blue Hubbard squash planted at the far corners of your garden will draw squash vine borers and cucumber beetles away from everything you actually want to harvest. You plant it as a decoy and let the pests do exactly what they were designed to do, just somewhere you do not mind. And for times when you need a little extra help, here is a simple kitchen spray that has been passed down through Amish families for generations. Chop 4 to 5 garlic cloves and 2 hot peppers. Steep them overnight in 1 quart of warm water. In the morning, strain it into a spray bottle, add 1 teaspoon of plain liquid dish soap, and spray it directly onto affected plants, focusing on the undersides of the leaves. Apply it early morning or late evening, never in harsh midday sun. Reapply after rain. This does not kill pests on contact, but it makes your plants smell and taste completely unpleasant to insects, and they simply move on. It is part of a whole system, and as part of that system, it works beautifully. Now, here is the moment I promised you at the very beginning. The technique I have never seen in a single gardening book. When the Amish transplant young seedlings into the garden, they take an old toilet paper tube or a paper towel roll cut into sections, and they slide one around the base of each seedling, pressing it about 1 inch into the soil. That simple cardboard collar creates a physical barrier against cutworms, those night-crawling larvae that silently sever your seedling stems right at soil level. And they are responsible for far more dead transplants than most of us ever realize. The cardboard breaks down naturally in 4 to 6 weeks, right around the time the plant stem is tough enough that cutworms can no longer bite through it. No plastic, no chemicals. Just a piece of cardboard and the quiet understanding that protecting a young plant through its most vulnerable window is really all you need to do. I started using these collars 3 seasons ago, and I went from losing 5 to 8 transplants every spring to almost none. That is the Amish way. Gentle, thoughtful, and remarkably effective. So let me ask you this. Which of these steps are you going to try first? Drop it in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I genuinely love hearing from all of you here in our little Casa Verde community. And if this video changed the way you think about pest control, please share it with a fellow gardener. Because this kind of wisdom deserves to be passed on, just like the Amish have been doing for 300 years. I will see you in the next diary entry. Happy growing, friends.